The skies over Washington, D.C. were ripped apart by tragedy on a cold January evening. An American Airlines jet, Flight 5342, collided with a U.S. Army helicopter. The unthinkable incident occurred near Ronald Reagan National Airport, sending shockwaves across the nation. The date was January 29, 2025. It was a day that will forever be etched in the memories of those who lost loved ones, and a nation grappling with yet another aviation disaster. The American Airlines flight, a Boeing 737, was en route from Wichita, Kansas, carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew members. The Army helicopter, a UH-60 Black Hawk, was on a training mission. It had a crew of 3 soldiers on board. The Black Hawk was assigned to the 12th Aviation Battalion, a unit known for its crucial role in supporting military operations in the National Capital Region. The collision occurred just before 7 p.m. local time. The impact was catastrophic. There were no survivors. All 67 souls aboard both aircraft perished in the crash. The immediate aftermath was chaos. Emergency responders rushed to the scene. They were met with a horrific scene of twisted metal and burning debris. The crash site, located just outside the airport perimeter, quickly became a somber reminder of the fragility of life. The National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, immediately launched an investigation into the cause of the crash. Their mission to determine what went wrong and prevent such tragedies from happening again. The investigation is complex and multifaceted. Investigators recovered the black boxes from both the American Airlines jet and the Army helicopter. These devices, containing cockpit voice recordings and flight data, are crucial to understanding the final moments before the collision. Several potential causes are being examined. One focus is on the altitude of the Army helicopter. Regulations stipulate that helicopters in that airspace should maintain an altitude below 200 feet. Investigators are working to determine if the helicopter was operating within these limits. The use of night vision goggles by the helicopter crew is also under scrutiny. While these goggles enhance vision in low-light conditions, they can also limit peripheral vision. Investigators are looking into whether the goggles played a role in the accident. Communication, or lack thereof, is another critical aspect of the investigation. Investigators are examining air traffic control recordings and radar data to understand the communication between the helicopter, the American Airlines jet, and air traffic controllers. Preliminary reports indicate that an air traffic control supervisor allowed a controller to leave early, leaving a single controller to manage both airplane and helicopter traffic, potentially contributing to the disaster. The 67 victims of the crash represented a cross-section of America. Their stories, hopes and dreams were cut tragically short. Among the victims were figure skating coaches Vadim Naumov, Evgenia Shishkova, and Sasha Kirsanov, traveling with their young skaters, Jinna Han and Spencer Lane, to a competition. Their loss sent shockwaves through the figure skating world. Also on board were military personnel, including Staff Sergeant Ryan Austin O'Hara and Chief Warrant Officer 2, Andrew Lloyd Eves, fulfilling their duties even in training. Families from Fairfax County, Virginia, returning from vacations, and a group of steam fitters from Maryland heading home after a work project, were also among the passengers. The impact on their families and communities is immeasurable. Parents lost children, children lost parents, spouses lost partners, friends lost confidants. The grief is palpable, the sense of loss overwhelming. Support services have been deployed to help those affected cope with the trauma. Grief counselors, religious leaders, and community members have come together to offer solace and support during this incredibly difficult time. The tragic collision has prompted immediate action. The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, implemented new flight restrictions for helicopters operating in the vicinity of Ronald Reagan National Airport. These restrictions aim to reduce the risk of future mid-air collisions. The crash also sparked political debate. Former President Trump weighed in, blaming the incident on incompetence within the FAA. He suggested, without providing evidence, that diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives within the FAA compromised safety standards. Meanwhile, the recovery efforts at the crash site continue. As of Friday afternoon, 41 bodies have been recovered, with 28 identified. The process has been slow and painstaking. Fog and near-freezing temperatures hampered recovery efforts. The fuselage of the American Airlines jet needs to be removed to access the remaining bodies. The investigation into the crash is ongoing. The NTSB is meticulously analyzing evidence, interviewing witnesses, and conducting simulations. Their findings will be crucial in determining the cause of the accident and preventing similar tragedies in the future. Until then, the nation mourns, seeking answers and demanding accountability.